and Scott Wise. Dave is with Fast Track Markets, and Scott Wise with Scotty Brewhouse. Dave?
Thank you. Good to see you.
It's good to be here, guys.
Good to be here. Likewise. I didn't know an HR conference could be so fun.
I know, we can actually make an HR conference.
Like the
Dave, tell us about Fast Track.
Fast Track is a chain of 44 convenience stores based out of Syracuse, New York. We call it Upstate.
Upstate.
Confused with the city.
Yep.
Operate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sell gasoline in all of our stores.
How many folks work with Fast Track?
About 350 at store level.
Folks. And Scott, tell us a little about Scotty's Brewhouse.
We started in 1996. I was 22, young and an idiot. And most would say I still am an idiot, not young. And got great people around me. You know, I can't say that enough. I got to take a sidebar and say that your team, from the Joy and everybody else that's helped. I know I don't follow about an eighth of the rules that she's put on top of me, and there was an all points bulletin a little earlier trying to find me.
Yeah, we were a little nervous.
I think that it's a true testament to leadership, and I really feel like I'm in a dorm room at Harvard University watching the cusp of an explosion from a company that is incredible.
Thanks.
So I'm honored to be a part of this.
Appreciate that. I really do. And
you owe me that money that you told me.
One of the things that's going on is Scott and I were talking earlier. He's had a phenomenal business. You've been through a recession. You've been through a lot of changes there, and social media has been a huge thing that you've used as a way to be a catalyst for your brand and for your business. And talk about how that's really changing the landscape in the restaurant industry.
I think that if you use it correctly, and I definitely am not the one to follow if you want to use it properly. In fact, I told you that you need to create your next module needs to be a button that says, please don't send this tweet, you idiot. It's going to cost you a lot of money. No, but I think that if you use it properly and you can link it to the proper, like we link our application process from a social tool straight into PeopleMatter, and we've seen our applications go up 160%. So I think that speaks volumes for the use of social media and tagging it with a source that works.
And you're touching on a good issue here, which is my next question to you is, how do you think social media is influencing recruiting? The recruiting process of bringing new folks to Scotty's Brewhouse.
Oh, it's exponential. You can't. I don't think that you can really put. I think that it's never ending. I think that there are so many tools and applications out there. Facebook, and we've created an employee Facebook page now. And again, I think that if you use it properly and you link it back to the right sources, and I think you have to monitor some of the metrics, but you guys have made it so easy and made our, in my industry, turnover is, and retention is key. And I think a lot of people could testify to that. And what you guys have done in the process is helped me reduce that dollar amount and save me money, which in the end of, all this is the end all be all.
And speaking of turnover, you've seen some really impressive, Dave, you've really seen some impressive stats with turnover. Talk a little bit about, the turnover rates pre and post, implementing hire, and what you've kind of seen recently.
Yeah, if you look back about 4 years ago, 2008, our turnover was at 111%. In 2009, it was 95%. 2010, it was 78%. And I thought, okay, this is great. How do you beat that? It was lower and lower each year. And we went live with hire in June of 2011, only a half a year, and we saw the company's lowest turnover in its history at 69.45%, which is just huge.
Wow.
Just
the savings that come along with that.
Oh, it's absolutely.
And so what have you seen around automation in the hiring process? Now that you've done a lot of automation, maybe some of the other benefits besides turnover that you guys have seen in the organization. The quality of applicants, I know, was something that you mentioned to me as well.
Right. Without it, I think it's turnkey. It's from beginning to end. I mean, we have to go find the applicant. They're out there looking for a job. But you got to do something with them once you get them. Paper and pencil does not work anymore. They're out there, they're looking for a job. It's a technology age. People want things now. They want it immediate. And if I can get to them promptly through PeopleMatter, through technology, then I get to them first. Because they're looking for a job. Just because they apply to Fast Track doesn't mean I'm the only place that they've applied.
I keep thinking they're going to make something dummy-proof, and then they build a better dummy. So I think what you've done, I could be one of those parents. I've got 3 kids that sometimes are dummy 2.0. But I think what you've done is you've created an application that starts to take some of those pitfalls out of the process, and it makes my managers hire smarter.
And what, talk a little about like your social media footprint and how that's continuing to help you guys. You guys, I think, have 27 Twitter accounts.
It can be a bear to manage, and what I used to say was it really, in my opinion, allowed us to survive the recession. It allowed me to keep my doors open and not only survive, but we grew during these past 3-4 years. So I did used to call it a free medium. I think now, obviously, my time is not free. I'm probably one of our more expensive employees. But I've had to hire a director of digital media who's here with me and helped me along today. So I think that, again, if it's used properly, and I think that it's more than just marketing. I think employment, and I think engagement. I think that the consumer today is looking for a connection. They want to know that I don't care what brand you are or what business you're in, they want more. They want to know that you value them as a real person, and I think that's what we try to do is when you post on our Facebook page or you send us a tweet, we're going to talk back to you. We're not going to just let it filter into space. We're going to talk with you.
Actually engage in a conversation right there as well. Dave, one of the things that we're seeing a lot of now is you have a lot of point solutions that are out in the marketplace where you may have an applicant tracking system, you may have a learning management system, you may have a scheduling system, and they don't talk to each other. And maybe you can talk real quickly about how the unified platform has really helped where you have all of the things in one place, one place to go.
I think it's huge, Nate, to respect that somebody, if you don't have an integrated system that communicates across the line, somebody's got to manage those components. So just like at store level, there's a cost of doing business. There's a labor expense in the office as well. So we have to manage things manually. Not only does it cost, but it slows down the process of, again, making that whole thing take place and transpire.
What's one piece of advice if you can give to the audience and the folks online to an operator today to do? What would be a good piece of advice on how to make their processes more efficient?
I think you have to automate. Again, like I said a minute ago, what people did 29 years ago when I started the business it's not the same group today. People learn differently, they engage differently, and you've got to have a way to get to those. You got a responsibility to get to them, and once you get to them, you got to be able to do something with that process. I mean, let's face it, everybody, whether it's Scott, myself, whoever, is looking for the best applicant. And once you find them, if you don't make that process user-friendly, if you don't put yourself in a position where you're hiring the best, the assessment tools are critical in that process. I'm saving time, my supervisors are saving time by really talking to the best person possible. So that whole process to me is huge in the end result, and that's a better operation, less turnover, more money to the bottom line, hence we can continue to grow.
And Scott, what about you? One piece of advice.
Can I do two?
You can do two, absolutely.
Okay. First one is, sometimes you should show your wife your phone before you hit send on the tweet, because what you thought was funny, she didn't really think was that funny about talking about your kids doing something in their pants. The real piece of advice would be, and I said this earlier to you, and it's no smoke. The name of your company. Put a space between the two words, and I think that is the crux to everything that we're talking about and everything that you're doing and developing is that the people matter. And I think if you remember that and you put that number one, everything else will fall into place.
It just flows downstream.
Absolutely.
Well, thank y'all for being here today. I really appreciate you guys making the trip to Charleston and sharing your stories with us today. And have a wonderful rest of the show. Thanks again.
Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Next, I want to talk about the final update I want to give you guys is on integration.